Welcome back to Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris and I'm chatting today to Gurmit Singh and Tina Carmillia about environmental issues affecting the world and Malaysia in this year. Now, this year has been really big for Greta Thunberg, hasn't it? And I'm just wondering, I mean, we touched a little bit on youth activism before the break, and I guess zooming out to the world globally, she really has become the poster child for climate change activism. Now, I want to get your thoughts, both of you, on the Greta Thunberg effect, whether you think her activism has actually changed the narrative around climate change, has actually pushed for tangible action or tangible results. Gurmit, what do you think?
Well, we were trying for a long time. In fact, I have actually given up the negotiators, and I was trying for a long time for a people's movement against climate change. In a way, she has provided the momentum. But the question is whether she can continue on it and build up on this. Will the people continue to support? Because this is not a one-off thing. You have to maybe be at least for a few years. And I am a little bit, not pessimistic, would say maybe optimistic. I'm
cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
That she will provide the momentum at least every Friday, happening elsewhere. And so far it has continued. I hope she can build up on that. And other people, the adults, need to come onto it because the youth alone can't do very much.
Well, you know, you mentioned a bit earlier that you've been doing this for a while.
Well, 40 years.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad that you did. So I'm just wondering why now? Or is this a re-emergence of, you know, a new sense of urgency when it comes to climate change?
I think it's basically the urgency because
Okay.
they have already said, even the negotiators have agreed, the IPCC have said you have this window, narrow opportunity is 1.5 degrees centigrade. You have at the most 5 years. The scientists were saying all these things even in the 90s. They were even saying that, but people ignored them because they say the science was not sure. But now it is very, very evident, and even Bush cannot deny it, the great denier. So I think there's a sense of urgency about it.
Tina, what do you think Greta Thunberg has gotten right in her approach to creating this ripple effect?
I think she uses her privilege well. She comes from a very privileged position. As a Swede, she gets a lot of coverage. She can amplify the message because, and I think she's acknowledged her privilege a number of times as well. And I think if you see the ripple effect, it's maybe not a tangible answer to the climate crisis, but you know, even 2 or 3 years ago, you don't get a lot of contact with climate news. Today, every single day, you have contact with climate news, whether passively or actively. Just scrolling on your social media timeline, you get some contact with climate news.
Well, give me an example of how we have this contact passively. What kind of news are you talking about?
You just have to scroll on your social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook.
So what kind of news, for instance, the passively contact?
You get a lot of coverage about Greta Thunberg, both the positive and the negative.
Sure.
You get people calling her names or telling her to stay in school. But that creates conversation. It always starts with a conversation. You're not going to get the answer, because if we have the answer, we won't be having this conversation at all, right? But ideas, it starts with a conversation, I think.
So where do you think Malaysia needs to up its game, Gurmit? I mean, is it in terms of government policy? Because you talked a little bit earlier about the real reason is government inertia. And I wonder whether I disagree with that, because I'm not sure that government policy is the only holy grail for environmental reform. Looking at Greta Thunberg, I wonder whether it's more of an on-the-ground grassroots movement. Do you still think it's government?
Yes and no, I would say. Because I think the political will has to be there. And in this country, whether you like it or not, political will matters. And so far, the Prime Minister has held all sorts of contradictory things on environment and climate and all that. Some positive, some negative. He uses the word sustainable very glibly nowadays. I don't know whether they understand what they mean by sustainability. But I actually, Cetdem pushes for sustainability actually. We look at all the problems within the sustainability context. We call ourselves promoting sustainable solutions. And we find that there is the understanding is lacking. There is some initial understanding beginning, but it is not deep enough
Understanding
of what even sustainability is.
within the government or within policymakers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I attend a lot of meetings for the government, the EPU, the MEA, and
Mestec.
Mestec.
Okay.
Mestec only on climate change, basically. Somehow Yo has been a disappointment to me.
Oh.
You used to be very close when she was out, not a minister. Now she doesn't even want to meet me. So, so I'm just wondering what was the reason.
Probably busy. Well, actually, can I press you on that? And I'm wondering, looking at the Pakatan Harapan government's track record in terms of the environment, we have had some big environmental disasters, the haze and all that this year. It seems like they seem to be proactive. But when it comes to climate change, do you disagree?
I would say proactive only to some extent.
Okay. Well, maybe proactive is the wrong word.
What proactive?
Reactive.
Reactive. I was gonna say, yes.
Reactive is probably the better word.
Proactive.
But if we were to focus on climate change.
But climate change, you see, the thing is, other than renewable energy, where she's talking of basically solar energy, government's commitment to 20% renewable energy, means basically the old government also had the same commitment in its Green Technology Master Plan. So hers is a little bit, she's parroting the Pakatan thing, which is a little bit more, 5% more. But I think she hasn't set up a target to say, when are we going to phase out coal-fired power stations? Or when are we going to stop investing in coal-fired power stations? And she has not said anywhere, when are we going to be carbon neutral? I would like to see that sort of statement.
Is that too far of a leap? I mean,
no, you must do it now.
What about you, Tina? Weigh in on this.
I don't think it is a problem that's unique to Malaysia. I think a lot of countries are reluctant to
make that step.
To make such a commitment. Because once you make such a promise, you have to you be held accountable for it, and it's a political thing, right?
But beyond that, you can't do anything because anything else is all playing around.
Yeah. So there's no movement politically. It's just, you know.
It's words.
Yes.
You see, even at the deputy minister went up to Madrid. What did she say? She repeated the same mantra: 45%. We will achieve this. We have turned to solar energy. Beyond that, nothing.
Okay, so if everyone is concerned about the inertia and the kind of, you know, political spiel that happens at these big conferences, much like what Greta Thunberg said, you know, the UN is not doing enough in terms of climate change. So where is it going to come from? Is it going to come from the grassroots?
Grassroots.
Okay, and this is where environmental communication is more than important. We're going to come back, continue this conversation, what it takes to get the grassroots moving. That's coming up next on Consider This. Stay tuned.